So we skipped over.
I'm sorry. I got crazy.
She was super excited about it.
I'm chomping at the bit. Anytime you let me talk about Sposies, you know.
All right, so let's go back then. So let's go back because we wanted to talk about these jobs numbers, and we got some. We were talking about some of the bad jobs numbers, right? If you've been watching our show over the past few days, you know that we had 3 million people had left the labor force in August. Really, really bad news. And then we had the jobs numbers yesterday that came out, which showed that jobless numbers went down. People filing for unemployment went down. To which you might be saying, hey, that sounds like great news. Fewer people filing for unemployment. No, what it doesn't take into account is all of the people that have just left the labor force altogether.
Yes, but now there are reports that a record 1.4 million more applications for new businesses were filed in this year alone. So experts are saying we may have up to 4 million applications for new entities, which could be great news because it is indicative that people are betting on themselves instead of trying to get a job for somebody else. They're building their own business. And early numbers show that a lot of these new business applications are for manufacturing and retail type jobs, which create jobs for other people. So it's not like everyone decided to be a freelance programmer or a freelance writer and then they don't employ anybody and they're just in their homes doing their own jobs. People are actually getting out there and building new companies that will then serve their communities and hire other people. So it doesn't have to be all that bad. Now, meanwhile, 3% of workers handed in their resignation in August, which is a record high. But 4 million applications for new business in a single year would also be a record. During normal times of down economies, those numbers could be as low as 2 million a year, right?
Right.
And of course, all new businesses have a high fail rate, right? But hopefully these people are really like using the pandemic as a launch board. And a lot of times things that are started under fire are stronger than things that are started under easy times.
Well, we've had a lot of people in our chat who have said that they started a business during the pandemic. They used some of the additional unemployment benefits that they were able to get in that time. They were able to use some of their the stimulus money to start a business. How many people watching right now were able to start a business or just took that plunge and applied for that LLC and got that EIN number and started to come up with a plan? I think it's exciting. I think it's great that people have taken that plunge and have started to create new businesses.
It sure ticked off Congress, though.
Well, did it? Well, it's certainly
because they're like because they use it as an excuse to try to just They're like, okay, so some of you started businesses, some of you put some in savings. You're not getting any more.
Yeah, Americans are saving more than ever was the thing, and Congress was like, look. We can't just be lining people's savings accounts right now.
Right. We got to be lining our own.
God forbid that people should have $500 that can't protect themselves. That like most Americans cannot handle an emergency.
Look at this. Grimskull in the chat. Derek Morris in the chat. Noel Whittle in the chat. Rose Q in the chat. All started businesses. Sorry, not you, Noel, but.
Way to go.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, we are in your camp. We're your cheerleaders.
James Figueroa says, my wife's small business had no help. Yeah.
Mitch McConnell's did. So.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell, Elaine Chao, of course, his wife, they managed to get hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Kristen Swenson says, I got a PPP loan and applied it back into the economy as it was meant to be. And that's the thing, right, that Kristen brings up is these loans, if they're utilized properly and the money going into people's pockets, it's going back into the communities where they're buying groceries, they're shopping, they're going to the local store. And so this money is coming back into these communities. And it's lifting up all these businesses.
Think about Dan Price and where his company is located and probably how that shifted that whole area as far as people spending power. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he put money in their pockets, which ultimately went right back into the economy.
Right.
But what happens is these big people, the billionaires, they don't put any money back into the economy. They hoard it.
Right. With Dan Price, for those of you that don't know, we featured him here on the show. He's one of our favorites, right? 6 years ago, he went into a conference room at his company and he announced that he was raising the company's minimum wage to $70,000. And Fox News called him a socialist and that his company was going to collapse and that there was going to all of his employees were going to go to bread lines and so forth. And since then, revenue tripled. They have a Harvard Business School case study. Employees had a 10x boom in homes bought. Always invest in people, he says, and that's been his. That's what he did. And all these people, they had children.
Yes.
They bought homes. The people that work for him, but all of these people on television were like, "This is a socialist boondoggle. It's going to collapse."
Yes.
Well, and you were just talking at the beginning of the show about stress levels and everything. Like, just imagine the stress levels of somebody that's going and working a job for $15 an hour that can barely afford their rent. Two people are having to work in a household. They're not able to be around their kids, and then this guy steps up and does this, and the establishment tries to call him a tree hugger and a socialist. But these people's stress levels just went to basically zero in probably most cases, and they're living a better, healthier life. Because when you're not stressed, you're healthier, you're eating better, you're not worried about where the money is going to come from, or how you're going to pay your rent, or how you're going to have a car to even get to your job.
Yeah. We recently did a study with an economic survey that showed that the upper class was the demographic of people that owned entities, businesses, and stocks, right? Performing assets. But these numbers show that the middle class and the underclass could absolutely shift those numbers if they did, in fact, start their own businesses and bet on themselves, and then they own the performing asset, right? That's something that we try and teach people all the time. We have a Financial Freedom Academy that's built around that very notion, to own the asset yourself. Instead of go to work for somebody and get a paycheck, you buy things that continue to perform, right? And so, I don't know, maybe they all took our Financial Freedom Academy and went and bought their own performing asset. That would be awesome. But this is the thing that we always try and teach people is like, you cannot, at the end of your life, not own the goose, right?
Yeah, instead
that
of the
lays eggs. If you work your whole life for eggs and you own no geese that then perform for you, you cannot retire. You're not set up, right? 1.4 million more people than normal understood that. They realized, I don't have any geese. I'm going to go get me some.
Right.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, the increase.
Well, and you're kind of doing that with your servers.
Me? Oh, with our Bitcoin
Clayton, with
servers?
your crypto servers, yeah.
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 Yeah, I recently started investing in crypto and, started investing in crypto. I recently started crypto mining. So, whether it's real estate investing, whether it's mining crypto, whether it's investing in crypto or performing assets.
Owning a business. Right? Yeah.
I would encourage every one of you, if you haven't had a chance to read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Michael Gerber. It's now 15 years old. It's the classic business book. But if you're thinking about starting a business or you've already started a business, it's so important to read this book because it teaches you how to make sure that you don't become a cog in the wheel of your business. It really teaches you how to take things to the next level and separate yourself from the process so you're not there for 20 hours a day. And, then that's just like getting another paycheck. Great book. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.